After awareness is recognized, there's often a quiet expectation that things should change, that reactions should soften, that patterns should loosen, that life should feel different. And when it doesn't, confusion sets in. This episode is about that confusion, not to solve it, but to understand it. Awareness doesn't erase conditioning, it reveals it. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Before awareness, patterns run invisibly. They feel like me, like choice, like personality. After awareness, those same patterns become visible, and visibility can feel like failure if we expect disappearance. Awareness doesn't stop old patterns because awareness isn't an intervention. It's a context. It allows patterns to be seen without immediately being believed. That's the beginning of change, not the end of it. One of the most common misunderstandings is thinking awakening should feel clean, calm, centered, resolved. But early awareness often feels messy, because what was hidden is now in view. Reactivity doesn't increase, it becomes noticeable. And noticing can feel like regression if we mistake awareness for control. Patterns exist in layers. Some are mental, some emotional, some are held in the body. Awareness touches all of them, but not at the same speed. The mind understands quickly, the body learns slowly. That mismatch creates tension. You might notice this as reacting before you realize it, seeing the pattern after it happens, feeling frustration about knowing better. That frustration isn't failure. It's awareness noticing its own limits. Awareness doesn't replace habit. It interrupts identification with habit. That's subtle, and it's why so many people feel disoriented after awakening begins. You're no longer fully inside the pattern, but you're not free of it either. You're in between. This in-between space is where learning actually happens. Not learning as accumulation, learning as familiarity. Seeing the same reaction again, recognizing the same tension, noticing the same urge to justify. Each time, the grip weakens slightly. Not because you force it, but because it's seen. Awareness doesn't ask you to stop reacting. It allows you to notice reacting without becoming the reaction. That changes the internal relationship. Instead of, I am angry, there is, anger is present. That single shift creates space. Space doesn't remove patterns. It gives them room to move. And movement is how patterns unwind. Not through suppression, not through judgment, through completion. Many patterns persist because they were never fully felt. They were managed, redirected, explained. Awareness allows experience to finish its movement. That's why staying matters. Not to fix patterns, but to let them complete. Another misunderstanding is thinking awareness should make life easier. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Awareness makes life clearer. Clarity can feel uncomfortable when it reveals how much was automatic, how much wasn't chosen. That discomfort is part of learning. It's also common to think, if I'm aware, why did I still react? Because awareness doesn't live where habit lives. Habit lives in repetition, in neural pathways, in muscle memory, in emotional reflex. Awareness sees habit. It doesn't instantly rewrite it. Rewriting happens through exposure, seeing the pattern again, noticing it earlier, feeling it more fully. Over time, the pattern loses urgency, not because it's fought, but because it's understood. Understanding here doesn't mean explanation. It means familiarity, like knowing the sound of your own breathing. It doesn't require effort. It requires presence. Awareness also reveals how judgment keeps patterns alive. The moment we judge ourselves for reacting, we re-identify. We become the pattern again. Awareness doesn't judge. It notices. That's its power. When awareness is present, even strong reactions can be held. Anger can move without becoming violence. Fear can arise without becoming avoidance. Sadness can be felt without collapsing identity. This doesn't happen perfectly. It happens gradually. Another thing awareness reveals is how much patience this process requires. Not patience for improvement, patience for integration. Old conditioning didn't form overnight. It won't unwind instantly. Awareness doesn't rush. It stays. You may notice cycles, periods of clarity, followed by periods of reactivity. This isn't backsliding. It's layering. Each pass goes a little deeper. Each return happens with more recognition. Awareness doesn't demand progress. It allows progress to happen without pressure. Pressure reinforces patterns. Presence loosens them. There's also grief here. Grief for how long patterns ran unnoticed. Grief for how much energy was spent managing identity. That grief doesn't need fixing. It needs space. Awareness provides that. One of the most stabilizing realizations is this: you don't need to get rid of patterns to live from awareness. Awareness is already here. Patterns don't block it. They appear within it. That means nothing has gone wrong. This changes the question from, how do I stop this? To, how do I stay with this without becoming it? That's a workable question. Staying doesn't mean tolerating harm. It means not abandoning experience in the moment it arises. Boundaries still exist. Action still happens. Awareness informs action instead of reacting blindly. Over time, patterns soften. Not because they're attacked, but because they're understood. Understanding here is somatic. Felt. Integrated. This is why awakening isn't the end of learning. It's the beginning. Awareness opens the door. Integration walks through it. Slowly. If you're noticing patterns more clearly now, not less, that's not a problem. That's awareness doing its job. You're not stuck. You're in the learning phase most people don't talk about. Nothing here needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be forced. Awareness doesn't hurry because it isn't going anywhere. For now, it's enough to notice reaction arising. Awareness present. Space between them. That space grows the more it's recognized. And learning continues without effort. If this resonated, you're welcome to stay. You can like the video so it reaches others who may be in a similar place. And if this kind of quiet learning feels supportive, you can subscribe. Not for content, but for continuity. And if you know someone who's been noticing patterns they don't know how to work with yet, you're welcome to share this with them. Only if it feels right. Nothing here needs to spread quickly, but sometimes it helps to know you're not the only one learning how awareness meets real life.